would have to say, most of the time, I would say I'm quite resistant against this person. I've seen the videos don't look right. The things that he comes out with sometimes, he's allowed to say things that we're not, remember that. But when it came to this little speech, well, he's telling the truth on this bit. So without ado, let's listen to Tucker Carlson say everything is a lie and why.
So what is classification? Classification is the lie that the majority of the big things government is doing are too important to tell you about. You're not allowed to know because if you knew, somehow we would all be less safe. Well, that's a lie. And of course, the main reason that over 1 billion federal documents are classified is in order to give the people running the government the ability to do whatever they want, including enrich themselves, steal, defraud your money, and strip you of the right to do anything about it because you don't know what's happening. So this is noted by all normal people at all times. Evil thrives in darkness, and sunlight famously is what? The best disinfectant. There's no effort to disinfect our rulers. And instead, they have constructed a, not overstatement to say, a Byzantine system of classification rules with one goal in mind. Not to keep us safe, or to end the Iranian nuclear program, or to fight Hamas, but to allow them to behave with shameless corruption under double standards that secrecy affords them. That is the truth. And that's why 63 years after our president was murdered in Dallas, we can't know all the available facts about that murder. Now, on what grounds can we not know those facts? National security, sources and methods. The whole thing is a lie, and it doesn't get better until people stop lying, and the only way they stop lying is by revealing to us the truth. And this may be a kind of trap that the rest of us fall into. So something will happen, history-changing event like 9/11. And parts of it will seem self-evidently obvious, like what happened, planes flew into buildings, but some of it, like Building 7, which collapsed for still no explicable reason, are totally confusing. 25 years later, like what was that? And so people ask those questions because why wouldn't they? Anyone who's awake looks at that and says, that's weird. And then that person is screamed at as a conspiracy theorist, a wacko, you're an anti-Semite, you must be a Nazi if you have questions about Building 7. Okay, well, there's a very fast way to settle that debate, and it's by declassifying the documents that might shed light, factual light, on what actually happened. But that never enters the mind of either side. The people asking questions, slanderers, conspiracy theorists, just grumble to themselves, and the people who are continuing to hide the truth, assuming there's a different truth, just sort of keep on doing it. And so if you want to restore honesty, and you really have to, because a lot of the things we're seeing now could not happen in an honest system, certainly corruption couldn't happen, the first thing you have to do is demand ownership of something you already own constitutionally, which is the government's work product. But one of the groups with the most power, who are almost never acknowledged as powerful, who are more powerful than they've ever been in all of human history, are physicians, healthcare workers, doctors and nurses, people with needles. They have the power of life and death more than any member of Delta Force, more than any FBI agent or Capitol Police officer.
My name's Henry Rollins. For those of you who don't know me, don't worry. First off, don't worry. I am not running for office. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't care if you like me or not, and I'm not a comic, so you can relax. And what I want to remind you all about is something I call lifetime. Because if you think about it, you might say life is short, but actually life isn't short or long. It just goes whether you're here or not. You die, life goes on. You die tomorrow, I'm still here, I'm still alive, life goes on. Time isn't running out. It just keeps running before and after you. But your lifetime is running out every second. So I wanted to remind you of that fact and remind you of the fact that you live in a very dangerous country and you live in a very dangerous landscape. And if you're in the 213 area code, which we are presently in, which is Los Angeles, you're living in a very dangerous and violent climate. And part of the city burned for nothing. A few months ago, In Venice, California, my best friend was shot in the face and had his brains blown out on my front porch for nothing.
They can decide whether you live and die. And this is obvious, of course. It's the nature of their job. And so a thoughtful, responsible society sets up structures to make sure that they cannot abuse that power, not because all doctors are bad or all nurses are bad, but because that's an awful lot of power to vest in any individual. And so you need to have rules to prevent those people from abusing them. And the medical profession for literally thousands of years since the ancient Greeks has had those rules. And they're broad, but not maybe as broad as you think. It's called the Hippocratic Oath. And once again, it's been around since ancient Athens. And its most famous line, "First, do no harm," doesn't actually seem to appear in the text. But you may be surprised to learn what does appear in the original text and how it has been changed. And because this tells us so very much about where we are right now, we thought it would be worth reading it. So here's an actual line from the Hippocratic Oath, real Hippocratic Oath, before it was rewritten post-war in the West, and it says this: "Neither will I administer a poison to anybody when asked to do so, nor will I suggest such a course. Similarly, I will not give to a woman a medical instrument to cause abortion, but I will keep pure and holy both my life and my art." Thousands of years ago, wise people understood that the power to kill resided inherently in doctors, and that the temptation to kill, possibly at the request of the patient, would be ever present, but that crossing that line would turn the doctor from a healer into a killer. And in that process, the essence would be lost. You don't go to a killer to be healed. You can't. But those several lines, broad and general as they are, prove too restrictive for the post-Nazi, but not really post-Nazi, medical establishment of the 1940s. And so they changed. The post-war medical establishment changed the language. Here's the new version of the Hippocratic Oath, and we're quoting this directly. "It may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty." Oh, so we go from you cannot kill people. Your job is to heal them. Even if they ask you to kill them, you can't do that because that is crossing a line from which you cannot return. You are no longer a healer, but a killer.